Hello, friends. Hello and welcome. Welcome to yours and mine, Cozy Corner. My name is Amanda, and on this channel, we talk about books, and more books. Welcome, my beautiful people. I am here to do the February 2026 TBR. Now, I ain't even gonna lie, I did not get to all the books that I wanted to in February, but I'm gonna give myself some credit and I'm gonna give myself some grace. Let me see, I had a total of 9 books that I was supposed to read or that I had planned on reading, and I read all of them except for 2. And I had some changes with my job going on. My mom had like dental procedures, so I think I did pretty good this month, especially being that it's the shortest month of the year with getting the 8 books in. I'm sorry, the 7 books in that I did. So anyway, I'm not going to keep you long on this video. So let's get to it. Now, this is not in any particular order, but one of the books that I read was The Vicious Games by Joelle Wellington. Now, I won't go through a long synopsis because I already did that in the TBR video, but I will say this is dark academia, YA mystery, thriller with a bit of horror. Now, I had only heard good things about this book. I mean, I personally had not heard anything bad about this book. And I was kind of like, that's interesting. Just because usually, you may have heard like, a couple of people, gripe here and there. I had just personally had not heard anything bad about this book. And I tell you what, when I started reading this, and again, I'm always kind of skeptical when it comes to YA books, and I really shouldn't be because just like how adult books are written for adults, YA books are written for young adults. And, that's something that I have to be mindful of when I'm reading it is who is the correct audience for this book. But nevertheless, when I first started reading, I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this one because I definitely felt like, YA from the jump. But I tell you what, uh, not even midway through that book, just a couple of chapters in, all that went out the window. I didn't care about none of that. And I was just thinking, oh my goodness. The title of this book is correct. Needless to say, I enjoyed this book. I mean, I enjoyed it tremendously. Now, there were, and I don't want to say what it was because I don't want to give anything away, but there was like 1 or 2 things I'm like, now, is that really realistic? Nobody, again, I don't want to say what I want to say because I don't want to give anything away, but really, really good book. Really good book. I enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend this book to anyone who loves drama. And these books that I read about what the rich do, what the wealthy do. Again, I'm not rich or wealthy, so I don't know, if these things are true, but if they are, they really need to find something else to do with their time. They have too much time and too much money on their hands. But really good book. I would recommend. I would recommend this book. Now, one of my favorites that I read, and again, these are in no particular order, but God Ain't Blind by Mary Monroe. This is an African American historical fictional novel that involves a bit of drama and romance. Now, this is book number 4 in the God Don't Like Ugly series. So, when it comes to books that are in a series, I don't like to say much about it because I don't want to give anything away. And with the synopsis in these books, all of the synopsis on the back of um, the series gives away everything from the prior book. And when I say give it away, of course, it doesn't give everything away, but it gives away some key stuff that I think the reader shouldn't know about unless they have read the previous book. So all I will say is I'm definitely enjoying this series. And I believe, I don't have it written, but I believe it's like 6 books in that series. And this is number 4. So I'm really getting sad to think I'm about to finish the 2 if it's 6. I hope I'm wrong and it's 8. But I'll put it, if I remember out when I edit the video, I'll put that in there. But when I tell you that this is a really good series, and I feel like when I'm reading it, like, okay, I know these people. This is Miss Such and Such down the street. I know them. This could be some family members. I know them. It just really, I feel so comfortable reading this book, and it's so enjoyable. Even though I have to say it, Annette, she be getting on my nerves. Annette she really do be getting on my nerves because some of the decisions that she make, I'm like, girl, where did you pull that from? Like, that makes no sense. Why don't you do X, Y, Z first? But anyway, I'm not gonna get started on Annette because I don't want to accidentally start talking about this book and start giving away stuff. So I'm gonna move on past that. Um, the next book is My Funny Demon Valentine by Aurora Asher. Now, this is book number 1 in the Hellbent series, which is a dark romance urban novel with paranormal activities. So, this was a last minute add on. I had not planned on reading My Funny Demon Valentines, but as I was looking at my shelf because I was getting ready to record and I saw the book, because to be honest, I just have it kind of displayed because I'm like, it's so beautiful that I forgot all about, I hadn't actually read the book. So I really did enjoy it. I had a good time with it. I love the characters. I thought they were fun. Um, they were, I can't say relatable because they are demons. So, you know, I guess I can be a demon at times. Nah, never a demon. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It was good. I look forward to reading the second one, which I do have, which I don't see. And this is the thing. I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to get to it because I made a March TBR list, but then I borrowed 7 books from the library. So I have no idea what I'm going to actually read in March. But I tell you what, if I don't read it in March, I'm definitely going to make certain that I get it in April if I don't. So the next book that I read was Trophy Hunt by CJ Boggs, and that is a Western mystery suspense crime thriller. It is book number 4 in the Joe Pickett series, and it can be read as a standalone. I think I've probably mentioned this for the last 4 months that I will be attempting to read every book within the series, and it's 28 books that's in the series. And just like all of them, I have really been enjoying them. I have been enjoying learning about Joe, his family, his daughter. I especially, what's her name? I believe it's Charity. I believe her name is. I'm just really enjoying her. So this one was really good. I think they're just getting better as I'm reading them, even though they're completely, they're standalone, but they're just getting better. And I hope that I continue to feel that way. I think that if you have never read one book in this particular series, I would actually suggest this one. They all have been good, but I really believe that Trophy Hunt is extremely good. So I would suggest that one. And well, again, I would suggest all of them, but this one I definitely think more people can enjoy if you enjoy crime thriller because it's a lot of like surprise moments in there. So, anyway, next. So, next I have Baby Teeth by, and forgive me, I'm probably pronouncing the name wrong, Soja Stage. This is a contemporary horror suspense mystery thriller. I have to breathe. I have to take a second and breathe deeply for this one. This is one of those books where you just want to choke a little bit of everybody in the book. Now, I am not one of those people. I don't have to like the characters to enjoy the book. You know, hey, sometimes they may make for the best book because they may be the villains that I usually wouldn't root for, but enjoy them. This book, mm-mm. The daughter is Satan's spawn. I am convinced of that she is Satan's spawn. Oh my goodness. I don't know what is truly wrong with her. And I'm not a psychiatrist, I'm not a psychologist, but she is either a sociopath or a psychopath. I don't know what's wrong with this girl. She is completely out there. And the husband, I just I have no use for him. I don't. I don't. Now I'm pausing because I'm trying not to say too much, but I just don't have any use for him. I know, I don't want to say it because I don't want to give that away, but it is a really good book. I think that if you have triggers, you should probably, I would strongly suggest that you look up the triggers for this book to see if you're going to be triggered by it, because this book is horror in the sense of nothing like graphic or anything like that. But I mean, it's horror in the sense of like a Norman Bates, like, oh my gosh, could your neighbor really be that kind of person? That's the kind of feel I got. Like, I think sometimes when people think of horror, they think of like Jason and Freddy and, um, you know, those type of people, like, with the axes and, just something graphic, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Or maybe that's just a group that I think about because I'm dating myself. I don't know. But to me, I wasn't as afraid of those type because I felt like, oh, that's not true. I mean, no one's going to be Freddy Krueger that's going to come and get me in my dreams. But Norman Bates, his creeper behind, he could be the man down the street. So he freaked me out. And to me, that's where I feel like this book is horror, because this little girl who is Satan's spawn could be living in the house next door, could be torturing the people next door. Like, she was just awful, absolutely awful. And, you know, I felt like her mom wasn't supported. And, but at the same time, too, I'm like, use some common sense. If people don't believe something is happening, then you're going to have to show them that it's happening. You're going to have to do some FBI, some detective work, do some things to show them. Because, I imagine no one wants to think of their child as vicious and evil and mean and cruel and all those things. So sometimes they have to experience it for themselves to see. But don't wait until 25,000 years before that happens. But anyway, that book about to get me hyped, so I'm gonna move on. Okay, so the next book that is on the list is 8 Days to Live by Iris Johansen. This is a mystery suspense crime thriller with paranormal activity and some romantic suspense. Guys, this is book number 10 in the Eve Duncan series, and it can be read as a standalone. This is one of the books that I got from the Goodwill. And I tell you what, ever since I told you guys about this, when I first got it and I read the synopsis, I knew, like, oh my goodness, I have got to read this book. Like, I have got to push it in front of my forever growing TBR list. I need to put it to the forefront. Yeah, I enjoyed this book so much. I enjoyed this book so much that I intentionally did not read it quickly. I took my time with this. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't always take my time with books. Sometimes I just read it, um, not to just get it over with, but I just read at a certain pace. Well, this one I intentionally slowed my pace, which is not something I normally do. And it just was so good. Like I knew I didn't want to rush through it because I didn't want it to end too quickly because again, this is book number 10 in the series, so if I don't know which characters, if any, because I don't know if they're, interconnected or not. So I don't know if, some of these characters minus Eve, if they appear in the books before, the books after, I don't know. So I just wanted to take my time with it. And I'm glad I did because I enjoyed it. Now, in this particular one, Jane is Eve's daughter. And I have to tell you, I wasn't the biggest fan of Jane. And I know Jane is supposed to be I know she's the main character. I know that she's supposed to be the good person. And I think she is a good person. I think she's a good person, but she just really annoyed me because to me, she was just hard headed. She didn't listen. She kind of wanted things done her way, but even though they were doing it her way, it wasn't proven to be any better than, if anything, some of the things to me I felt she made worse. So I don't know, not a really big fan of Jane. I think she would have to grow on me. Now, Eve, even though in this particular book, and I'm gonna guess Eve is the main character, being it's the Eve Duncan series, so I'm gonna assume that she has been spoken of on all the books prior. But in this particular book, um, she only played like a very short part in there. And with that, I really enjoyed her. And I was like, I could deal without Jane, But of course, Jane is very relevant to this particular story here. So I guess we have to have Jane, but we'll see if she grows on me. Now, I'm not certain. I'm definitely I'm definitely gonna read more in the series. I I guess it would just make sense to go back to book one and see kind of how far I go from there. Um, but I also want to just go on to book 11 because they kind of left us on like a cliffhanger, or not a cliffhanger, but I kind of want to know what relationships are going to be pursued. So I may go to book one or I may go to book 11. I don't know yet. So, next book. Okay, friends. So, the next book that we have is The Unsettled by Ayanna Mathis. This is an African American historical fictional book. Now, this is a book that discusses like it's a multi generational book, and it's definitely character driven because halfway through, I'm like, what is the point of the book again? I actually kind of lost track of what the point was of the book, but honestly, I think and I shouldn't say maybe the point of the book, more so the plot of the book. Like, what's the plot again? But I think it was just more character driven. I was really focusing on them. So I don't really know how I feel about this book. Like, I enjoyed the book. I did. I definitely enjoyed the book. Is it a book that I would recommend? Absolutely. But I don't know. I thought it was going to give me something more than what I got, but I don't know exactly what that is. But it's a good book. So I hope that what I'm saying is not making it sound like it's not a good book, because it is, because we got to meet the mom and saw how she operated and the way that she took care of her son, but some of the things that she was going about, the way she was going about taking care of her son, just kind of, it made me think that, we all show love differently. The way this person show love and the way this person show love may not be the same way, but it's still all love. But then kind of towards the end, I was kind of, questioning, what is she doing? But, you know, I was focusing on her and then I was focusing on the young man, like the decisions that he's making. And then the mother who's back home in, I think it was Alabama. It's just, again, to me, it wasn't so much as the plot, because I can't really tell you what the plot of this book was. I can just tell you about the characters, which is absolutely fine. I mean, it is fine for books to be character driven, but again, I don't know exactly how I feel about it, but I think it's a good book. I definitely think it's a book people should read. Just kind of go into it knowing that, you know, you're going to go deeper with each character, versus the plot, at least in my opinion. Okay, guys. So the two books that I did not get to this month was Church Girl by Naima Simone and The Chosen One by Echo Brown or Echo Brown. I didn't get to those two. I I'm pretty certain I'm not going to get to them in March either. Church Girl is more of a contemporary romance, and even though I enjoy romance books, they're not necessarily at the top of my list. So I will come back to that a little bit later. Um, so yeah, that's all that I have for now. I think that this month was a pretty good month. I enjoyed let me see. I enjoyed all the books that I read this month. It was just, like I said, the Unsettled. I don't 100% know how I feel about this book, but again, I still think it's a good read, and I would suggest that if you like books about like historical fiction and multi-generational books, to definitely pick it up to read it. And also, I mentioned this before, she wrote the 12 Tribes of Hattie. Really, really good book. I definitely enjoyed that book. So I would suggest that you read that book as well. But anyway, so that's all that I have for you guys. I don't know if I'm going to be doing a March TBR video, being that I don't have a clue as to which books I'm going to read, or maybe I'll just tell you all the books that kind of planning, or at least going to put out there for March and see what happens. I don't know. But anyway, I thank you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around to the end of the video. And if you would not mind, could you please like, share, and subscribe? I would greatly appreciate it. And I can't wait to talk with you guys till next time.